Sharon Skinner, Grants Coordinator for the City of Mesa, Arizona, is here with us now. Sharon, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, GPA Conference 2011, what do you think?
It's great. I think that, the conference is always great, and we always get a lot of exciting networking opportunities and a lot of educational opportunities, but this one has an extra level of excitement, I think. I don't know if that's the energy from the casino downstairs or what, but we've got such great presenters, and it's just been really exciting.
Yeah, really gratifying so far. I've met so many great people like yourself, and you and I could probably talk grant-specific stuff for hours, but if you don't mind, I'd really like to talk about the GPA, because I know you serve on the board.
I do. I'm the current secretary of the board. I've been on the board for 3 years now.
And how long have you been a member?
I've been a member since 2006, and so I went to the conference in Phoenix as a one-dayer, and I just really got so energized and met so many wonderful people and really felt like I was part of a community that I felt like I needed to join as a member, and I've been to every conference ever since.
Yeah. And when did you get into leadership? When did you run for board?
Well, actually I served at the local level, and I was on the National Marketing Committee for about a year, and during that time I was also the chair of the local marketing committee. And then 3 years ago I was asked to if I would be willing to serve on the board, and was nominated and elected, and I've been serving for 3 years now.
Wow. And do you see yourself continuing as an officer, or?
That is my hope, actually. Re-elections took place today, and I think that I did a pretty decent campaign speech, so I'm hopeful that I'll be allowed to serve the membership for another 3 years.
Okay. So the GPA over the years has come from almost, well, obviously nothing, not that many years ago, to really, how many members today, do you know?
It's over 1,700 that we have, who have joined.
Okay.
We have about 540 individuals at this conference alone this year.
So we have almost 1/3 of the membership is here.
Yeah.
That's really incredible. It's an incredible turnout. What's the value to them in getting involved as a member of the GPA?
Well, you get a lot more opportunities to network with people and to learn more when you're more involved. So the more involved you are, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. I really firmly believe you get out of things what you put into them. And so by getting involved at your chapter level or on the national level in some way, shape, or form, you'll gain a lot of knowledge, you gain that exposure to other individuals, and even more support than you would normally garner through this organization, which is a very supportive organization anyway.
Right. So we should probably point out that grantprofessionals.org is the website. And are there chapters in most major cities now?
We have chapters across the nation in many, many cities, and I'm really excited. I mean, California has several, Florida has several, and Arizona now has 2. So we went from 1 to 2. So we're just growing by leaps and bounds. I know that we have just heard at the board meeting this week that we have 2 new chapters starting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where?
I think one's in Ohio, but I'm not sure where the other one is.
Okay,
Yeah.
All right, that's great. Next year's conference is?
Next year's conference is in Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, okay.
Yeah, and we're real excited about that. Apparently there are all sorts of really fun things to do in Indianapolis,
Yes.
and they're going to have the Super Bowl right before the conference, so the city's going to be all spiffed up for us.
Okay. All right, I'm going to try to tie in something we just had happen here in Nevada with your more national perspective on the GPA, and that is this: that we recently had a bill that got sponsored in our legislature that makes an attempt to control and regulate the grants profession. But it was a bill that was written by somebody who knew nothing about our profession, and we had to kind of jump in at the last minute and help that legislation get modified so it made sense to help the good guys and thwart the bad guys.
Right.
Is there any hope that on our national level we can establish some sort of standard of excellence that becomes the bar by which regulators and clients and employers judge us?
That's a great question. No, that's a great question, Rod. We actually are becoming the authoritative voice for the grants profession, and we're working very hard to do that through our advocacy, our education, our outreach, and our marketing. And the reason for that, and we have established a standard code of ethics that we also work by and operate by under. So we are working very hard in order to ensure that we become that authoritative voice, just so that we can do what you just said, so that we can be involved at those levels where they're establishing these kinds of requirements. Because what's happening, and it's happening a lot of places, is there are those people who will say they're grants writers or they're grants professionals, and they really aren't. And what we've been trying to do is head that off for a long time. And in fact, this year we've had no ethics violation complaints at all this year, which is really great. But we are the ones that will go out and talk to organizations who are perhaps putting forth unethical contracts or putting out RFPs for grant writers that aren't just not quite above board and things like that. We also have seen that other states like Florida is looking to do the same thing that Nevada recently has. I know that there are states now where you're required to be a registered grants professional. And we want to make sure that as that takes place, that we do have a say in what that really means. What does a grant professional look like?
Yeah, and as I think evidence of how well that can go, I noticed in the presentation this morning where the figure of $7,000, on average, a GPC earns $7,000 more per year than a non-GPC person.
That's correct. From our salary survey that we recently undertook, we did identify that that is the case. And I'm telling you that if you're a GPC, it speaks volumes for you as a professional, that you've undertaken a lot of professional development, that you're personally engaged in what you do, that you're committed to the work that you do. And in fact, the position that I'm in, and I've only been in my position for 6 weeks, I'm new to the City of Mesa.
Okay.
I spent 12 years at a nonprofit, a very large nonprofit corporation before that. But on the actual announcement for the job and on the job description, it actually says GPC preferred. And because I was GPC, I was able to speak to that and say, hey, I meet this preference, I guess you'd call it, not a requirement, but this preference of being a GPC.
What is GPC? How does one become a GPC?
GPC is Grant Professional Certified. We have a Grants Professional Certification Institute. And we have, basically what it means is that you have passed a rigorous test. First, rigorous vetting to take the test, and then a rigorous test to show that you are a grant professional, that you really know what you're doing, that you operate under ethical conditions, and that you are a professional that can be certified. Now, you can't just go take the test. It's not something that just anybody can go and take. You have to have meet certain requirements, educationally speaking, the number of years you've spent in the profession, grants that you've actually successfully written, successfully been awarded, and those kinds of things all tie into the requirements for being able to just to sit for the exam. And then the exam is a full day exam.
And I hope it happens for our company's sake, because we get calls every day from people who say, if I come to your class, will I be a certified grant writer? Will I be certified as a grant reviewer? And we have to tell them it just can't happen. You can't expect to get that in 2 days in a classroom. It takes
Right.
experience, it takes skills-based assessments.
Well, but training, education is a big component of that. You know, going to workshops and getting that basic information. In fact, the reason that we do this conference every year, and the reason that I come every year, is because there's always something new I can learn.
You're great. I love your
thanks.
energy and your thoughts and wisdom. It's wonderful to be here.
Well, thank you so much, Rod. I really appreciate it.